Hello there. My name is George Hurst. In this video program, we will show how to handcraft a top quality leather bag to attach to a bicycle handlebars. Of course, you can personalize and color it any way you would like. You can make them for yourself, for gifts, or for resale at a nice profit. To begin making my bicycle handlebar bag, I have made templates out of some lightweight cardboard. In this case, it's the file folders that are no longer used. And I have marked them. Here's the main one, and the two sides I'm going to cut from 6 to 7 ounce vegetable tanned leather. And the strap goods I'm going to make from 4 to 5 ounce vegetable tanned leather. Now, let's get started by cutting our leather. I will begin by carefully tracing around the outside edge of our pattern that we made. And I will very carefully mark all of the holes for punching, both for the tabs that we'll use for a closer and also 4 marks where we will attach the straps that go over the handlebars. It is very important to keep this pattern in place while you're punching all of these holes. I'm also going to mark the top of the sides, as you'll see here. It's not necessary to mark these holes. We'll explain that later. But all of the other holes we will mark. Next, using a sharp knife and a straight edge whenever I can, I will cut out the main part, as you can see. For the rounded corners on the front, I prefer to use the shears. I find it easier to cut curves with the shears than with a knife. Next, I will punch the holes as indicated on our pattern. I will punch some 1/8 holes to fasten the hold down straps, 4 of those, and then with a 1/16 inch punch, I will punch the holes where we will stitch the tabs in place, as you can see. And that finishes our main part. We can now continue by doing the ends. To cut the gussets, I have selected another part of the hide which is down near the legs, where the leather will be softer and easier to shape into the sides that we're going to do that you'll see later. So cut this from a softer part of the hide if you can. We will cut 2 of these, 1 for each end. Please note I'm carefully cutting these notches, and I will carefully cut the inner part with the knife, as you can see, being very careful not to cut past over here, so I'll turn it, come back and cut in the other direction. And now I will, like I like to do, I'll take a shears and cut around the outer edge as you can see. For the strap goods, I'm cutting 2 pieces according to our pattern. To make that easier, I'm cutting those with a strap cutter, and then we'll cut them to length. This, of course, is cut now from 4 to 5 ounce vegetable tan cowhide. And now, using my pattern template, I will mark the holes, as you can see, using the awl. And I will mark the end. Next, I will carefully round the one end, as shown on our pattern. And the other end is a pointed end, so I will cut that with a strap end punch of the proper size. In this case, it would be 3/4 of an inch. Now, with the round drive punch, I'll punch the holes as shown on our pattern. And then with a 3/16 punch, I will punch where they will be buckled. We'll now do this to the other one as well. And then we will use a 3/4 inch strap end punch, and we will punch for the buckle. Now we will make the other one exactly the same. And now I will cut out the tabs. There'll be 2 of these, one for buckle end and one for what I'll call the tongue end. And we will, of course, mark all of the holes, just like we did before, for the stitching and for the rivet, where we will attach the buckle. And now I will trace the other tab the same way, making sure that I mark all of the holes, once again for stitching, and in this case, so that we can buckle it. And now I prefer to cut these out with the shears, since they're mostly curved lines. And as you can see, I will now punch these holes as indicated on our pattern. And that completes our strap goods. And of course, we have made our gussets and also the main part. Now, if we're going to do any tooling, dyeing, and finishing, now is the time to do that. It is now time to prepare the gussets. The first thing I'll do is thoroughly dampen them on both the front and the back side. This is important that we get it fairly damp. And then we'll set this aside for a few minutes and let the water penetrate. I'll do it to both of them at this time. I have set my wing dividers to 1/4 of an inch, and now I will scribe a line, as you can see, around the part within the area where we do not have the cutout. Next, I will take a piece of the scrap leather, that's the same leather that we are using for the gussets, and I will test my gouge to see that I have the right depth. And I think I'll make a little bit of a change here. And now that I know I have the right depth, I can continue. Now I will very carefully gouge on the line that we scribed on there earlier. Take your time and make sure you stay exactly on that line. This is important. After you have gouged all the way around, it's time to take a skiving knife and skive that edge down quite thin. It is now time to shape the gussets so that they will fit into the sides of the case. I'm going to start by taking my fingers and folding it up, as you can see, folding it up to the point where we made the gouge. We'll do this all the way around. And then we'll take our fingers and kind of scrunch it, as you can see, so that it will lay flat on the sides of our case. What will help is to take something like I'm using here, and I can push up against it, as you can see. This will make for a nice fold then all the way around by pushing it up against the rounded portion of this edge slicker. After you have this gusset shape, now you can set it aside until we get ready to assemble it to the back.